G'day gamers, Aussie Wargamer here in Moree, Australia, and welcome to my channel. Just wrapped up with another fun game of Kill Team. Thought I'd jump online and share my thoughts about the Adepticon reveals that we had this past weekend. There was some great stuff, so let's jump right in. Should be online for maybe 15, 20 minutes, shouldn't be a long one. So let's get to it, eh? First up is Forbidden Power. Expansion to Age of Sigmar. Blind Sorcery was fantastic. Great book. Introducing Endless Spells was fantastic. I love Endless Spells. Try to find space for them in most lists that I do. Cogs being my favorite, but Quicksilver Swords are fantastic. The Pendulum can do so much damage. Geminids, of course, are great. So more universal Endless Spells is going to be a real boon, I think. And I love narrative progression. I think that was one of the biggest issues with Warhammer Fantasy, was that it got stale and stagnant. And, you know, the narrative was not always progressing. But I love that with Age of Sigmar, they're trying to push the story forward. So with these Storm Vaults, I don't know what they are. I assume there'll be a book. It looks like there'll be a book that comes with Forbidden Power, obviously with the rules and stuff, but should have some background and that kind of stuff into these Storm Vaults and what's going on. Love that narrative progression. Looking forward to it. These models look ace. That terrain piece, again, a terrain piece, like if you're running a Grand Allegiance army or something like that, don't have access to a terrain piece, having something that you can access is going to be fantastic. The Nagash head, that looks really, really cool. The boat, you know, little dude with the what's it called? The lantern in the boat looks rad. You know, and I assume there'll be more than just these 5 spells and the terrain piece. That may be it. I don't know, but it looks cool, and I'm looking forward to finding out more about that one. Anything that progresses the game forward is going to be good. Next battle tome is Fire Slayers. Not a surprise. This one's been in the rumor mill for quite some time. I have no interest in them. I don't think I'll ever play them, but I'm glad that they're getting an update. You know, it seems like the 3 endless spells, we've seen one here. And the terrain piece seems standard. That terrain piece looks magnificent. I might even just purchase that to have on a table. It looks really, really cool. I remember quite some time ago, White Dwarf had an article about Bugman's Brewery, and they had built, Dave Taylor maybe, I can't remember, someone had built Bugman's Brewery, and it was an amazing looking building, very similar to some of the stuff we see in that piece of terrain from the Fire Slayers. So that looks rad. I'm happy they're doing it. It means that obviously we'll see all the others. I wouldn't be surprised if Seraphon is next. So if they do like old battle tome, new battle tome, old battle tome, if we had Fire Slayers, Slaanesh, Sylvaneth, and then perhaps Dark Oath, or Light Elf, Sons of Tyrion, perhaps. But I think Seraphon will be the next battle tome to get its update. So yeah, good on Games Workshop, and congratulations to all you Fire Slayer players out there for, you know, running your naked, beardy dwarves around the tabletop. So that is cool. Okay, this little teaser here for Flora versus Fauna, trees versus mushrooms. So this is almost certainly, I think, a new starter box with Sylvaneth and Gloomspite Gits. I did call Seraphon as the next battle tome, but this maybe means that it will be Sylvaneth. Again, we might get to see some new releases, endless spells and terrain and that kind of stuff, although Sylvaneth already have their terrain piece in the Wildwoods, but perhaps some Sylvaneth-specific endless spells. Look, I'm down for that. I don't actually like the whole Wildwood mechanic, and it's what's stopping me from playing Sylvaneth, because I love the model range, and I already have them in my mixed order Bretovaneth army. Alariel's amazing. Colonel Hunters are fantastic. I love those models. Not a huge fan of tree revs. Spite revs are kind of cool. Dryads are cool and so easy to paint. You can make dryads look so good with such minimal effort, which is fantastic. Tree Lord Ancient, amazing model. Love that model. So yeah, I'm hoping that if they do a new Sylvaneth, book, that they'll change the Wildwood mechanic so that the army can be competitive without it. So you can use it, or there'll be other builds that you can do that means you don't have to. I'm excited to see what this is. I have thought about doing a Troggoth army, so we'll see what's in the box. We'll see what it is first, and yeah, a new Sylvaneth book I would definitely be down for. And then we have the Caradron Night Vault, the Thundrix Profiteers. These models look rad. I haven't kept up with the Night Vault stuff, so I have all of the Shadespire warbands and the Night Vault starter box. But I haven't played Warhammer Underworlds for a long time. I used to play with Josh, my son, but we've been playing other games now. And we haven't really ducked into Warhammer Underworlds really since Night Vault came out. We've had maybe 2 or 3 games of with the Night Vault rules, and that's about it. But look, these models look cool. I really like the dude with the big flamethrower looking thing, with the tank on the back. He looks absolutely rad. I could see myself using these in some kind of conversion, maybe, but I don't know if I will buy into them. Depends if I get back into Night Vault or whatever. But they look really cool. And I'm glad that Games Workshop have been supporting this game the way that they have, because it really is a good game. It's a solid game. The main issue I have with it is that if you want to play competitively, then you need to invest in everything, and that kind of sucks. I don't play it competitively. I've built decks for all my warbands, so none of the decks are optimized, but they're all good, and they all play to the specific strengths of the warband. So that's all of the Shadespire warbands plus Briar Queens and the Stormcast in the Night Vault set. But yeah, they're cool. Good. Next, move on. All right, so the Warcry stuff, Iron Golems. These models look cool. I don't like the helmets, but other than that, I think they look really cool. And I might even get them and convert them as pit fighters in Mordheim, because we play Mordheim at the club a fair bit. We haven't played for a while, but we're just talking about tonight how we need to get back into it because it's such a fun game. But these would be really, really cool. These models would be really cool as Mordheim pit fighters. So I might grab those. I assume there's going to be a Warcry starter box. Maybe these Iron Golems and more Dark Oath type, perhaps. So I might grab the starter box, convert these guys up as pit fighters, because I have no interest in playing them in Warcry. If I'm playing Warcry, I'm going to be playing one of the other non-chaos factions, I'm sure, and I'll talk about those in a second. But these models are cool. The little I assume it's a dwarf with the two hammers and like the gold chain beard thing. That looks really rad. The big ogre looking thing with a meat tenderizer on one arm and looks like a sea mine on the other. He's pretty cool. They are rad looking models, except for those helmets that look like, this guy looks like he's wearing a pepper pot on his head. So there is that. The Furies and the Raptorix look cool though. That Raptorix, I can see myself using that in a whole bunch of conversions because that's got some really cool components. The feathered wings, those talons look rad. I think that's a cool model. I can definitely see myself using that. And then they revealed that there will be 9 non-chaos factions at launch, and going around clockwise, I would say they are Stormcast, Nighthaunt, Ironjaws, Idoneth, Gloomspite, Soulblight, which has me super excited. It'll probably just be like Legions of Nagash, but if it's Soulblight, man, that would be awesome. Daughters of Cain, and then Bone Splitters. I would like to see with Bone Splitters more green skin stuff, and I know a lot of people have said that's just not happening, that green skins are gone, but I want a generic Orc army, but I don't want Bone Splitters or Ironjaws. I want just like a generic Orcs for my mixed destruction pirate army that I'm working on. But we'll see how we go with those. And if that is the case, then I am totally in for a Soulblight Warcry team. I will probably do a Stormcast Warcry team. I've got a whole bunch of ideas for Stormcast, but I wouldn't do a full Age of Sigmar army. So Warcry Stormcast. I'd love to do an Idoneth one as well. Even Gloomspite Gits. Man, I'm going to have so many Warcry warbands. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be so good. All right, moving on. 40k Apocalypse, whatever. I don't really play 40k, and I hate like massive, large-scale games. It is just so boring when you've got to wait like an hour in between turns. That sucks. But the cool thing is, Games Workshop are doing movement trays. So there's that, I suppose. I'll always just cut my own because I have access to a laser cutter, but Games Workshop movement trays, that's kind of cool. And then they're talking about progressing the narrative of 40k, which is cool. As I said, love narrative progression. Anything that's going to move the story forward, I am down for, even though I have not been keeping up with the 40k story. Then they teased the 50 Shelves of Grey teaser. Was pretty funny, I've got to say. I've got to admit that was pretty funny. Everyone's saying airbrush. I tend to agree. Games Workshop had a stab at an airbrush before, and it didn't work very well because it was an absolutely horrific machine to use. It was so bad. But, you know, they teamed up with Windsor and Newton for their artificer brushes. So if they team up with Hiawatha or with Badger or something like that and actually make good quality airbrushes, and as Vince Venturella said, put their airbrush paint in dropper bottles. Games Workshop, put your airbrush paints in dropper bottles. There is no way I'll ever buy any paint, but especially airbrush paint, in a pot. Just no. Dropper bottles all the way. So yeah, I'm with someone I'm with everyone that says airbrush. But look, if it is something like brand new that's ridiculously cool that no one has ever heard of, then I would be down for that as well. Like, you know, some amazing new painting technology that no one has even thought of before. How rad would that be? It's not going to happen. It's going to be an airbrush, but that would be very, very cool. Exclusive models, Space Marines. Okay, they're Marines that go in space. Then they talk about the community survey. I will definitely be talking about Soulblight and Bretonia in that survey. What else do I want from Games Workshop? I think continued support for Lord of the Rings. And in fact, I would love Middle-earth strategy battle game. I would love them to redo some of those models and bring some of those models sort of up to scratch. Generic Nazgul, like I paid an absolute mint for named Nazgul and getting 9 mounted and 9 foot Nazgul. Why don't they make plastic Nazgul? Like seriously, how can you play any of the original, like the Lord of the Rings trilogy scenarios, when you're paying Australian $120 for 9, and they're just the foot ones, let alone the mounted ones, which they don't sell at all anymore. You got to buy the name characters. So make some Nazgul. There you go. That would be one thing I'd put in the survey. I think. I don't necessarily want them to bring back Bretonia. What I do want them to do is keep the compendium up to date, so that it's pointed correctly, which they're just not. Almost everything is overpriced. I think Grail Knights are fine, and Questing Knights are fine. I think the Bretonian general is probably a little overcosted, but not too much. And I think Damsel should be 80 instead of 100. Enchantress should be 120 instead of 140. I think the King is overpriced. Men-at-Arms are way overpriced. But I think the Knights Errant are the most overpriced unit in the entire game. 220 points, and they do nothing. Nothing. On top of that, I think the Sacred Protector needs to come onto the board from turn 3, maybe, or from turn 4. Let's say from turn 4, no matter what. Because at the moment, 50-50 chance of ever coming onto the game for 200 points. I don't mind paying 200 points for him as long as he's actually going to be there on the board. Anyway, I completely digress. But yes, fill out that survey. I definitely will be April 15th. And then we have the big reveal, the Slaanesh reveal. I have little to no interest in Slaanesh at all. Like, I will never have a Slaanesh army. I shouldn't say I'll never have a Slaanesh army. I currently have no interest or desire to have a Slaanesh army. But these models are rad. That Keeper of Secrets is a gazillion times cooler. They've gone in a very different direction with it, but it is so elegant and sleek. It is really, really cool. And they've picked up the sort of androgynous nature of Slaanesh with that model really well. Even that Demon Prince, like the Demon Prince just looks like a normal sort of human-sized model, but it's not. Like it's big. It doesn't have those crazy, massive, out of proportion sort of bodies like the standard Demon Prince has. And that cool little Daemonette on his shoulder is rad. I love that. The terrain piece looks really cool. But the thing that I love the most are those endless spells. They are so nice. The whip tongue one looks so cool. The hand of Slaanesh coming out holding the portal, that looks so cool. So yeah, I will not be purchasing those models, but I think they look cool, and I guess it's about time. Again, I'm really cool for that story to progress and for Slaanesh to be unleashed, I should say, unleashed into the mortal realms. It'll be fantastic. So bang up reveal show from Adepticon. So good. So many good stuff. So many cool things on display. Everything was a hit. Nothing that I am super stoked on, except for perhaps Warcry, particularly if that means Legion of Blood. and a revised Sylvaneth book would be cool as well, but that wasn't actually announced. So all the actual announcements, I probably, aside from the Endless Spells, I probably won't be purchasing. But there's some rad stuff there, and I'm looking forward to finding out more. Well, that's all from me. Thanks for watching. As always, stay tuned if you want to hear more of my voice. Catch us later.